What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the Banger Cast. Bienvenidos, bienvenue, bem-vindos todos. Welcome to one more. We're here. My name is Nuno. Bianchi. You know me. I'm content manager for Banger and also see my faces on videos. I'm content producer for the brand. There's also Alvaro Bonnelly, who's our copywriter. And today, special guest straight from IBM, our business technology leader for IBM Spain, Luis Roca Marsal. Welcome, Luis. Thank you so much for joining us, buddy. How are you?
I'm very good, and thank you first of all for inviting me to have a good, a good time with you guys and spend a good evening here in Spain.
It is.
What time is it now? It's 2 p.m. something like that.
Yeah, it's afternoon, after 4 p.m. Afternoon.
Yeah. Let's just say it's post siesta time here.
Yeah.
Post siesta. I'm pre-lunch, pre-siesta time right now here in São Paulo.
That's the only thing in our schedule that really matters here, right?
Yeah. As you guys can see today, it's a bit of a different. We only have 3 people today. We wanted to do like a smaller, more intimate. Is intimate the right word?
Yeah, well, it's the one we went for. It's intimate. We want to get intimate with Luis. It's just, you went there. You went there. Now it's too late to go back.
I'm sorry. Yeah, we wanted to have a more of a closer conversation and more of it's more traditional, more kind of an interview today. A little bit less jokes and a smaller video as well. But we wanted to get into the nitty gritty, more technical stuff a little bit and talk about the collaboration between IBM and Banger and IBM and vice versa throughout the past few years. And we have a couple of questions. So there's also personal stuff, Luis. So I hope you're okay with that. Let's
forget.
We're still us. Yes,
we're still us. You got to keep it personal because at the end of the day, chief engineer and a person that's mixing business and technology is someone that I want to know how his brain and how his heart and how his soul works as well. At the end of the day. So Luis, thanks a lot for being here. And I'm very curious. I want to know more about you. I know we share the same city. We've grown up in Madrid. And apart from that, you've gone to probably one of the most complicated universities in the whole entire world.
Complicated, you say? Why is that?
Oh yeah, well, why don't we have Luis tell us a little bit more about it?
Yeah, Polytechnica and university is a tough one. It's somewhere where you won't understand and you won't learn anything about engineering, but you will learn a lot of fighting to get things done. But I loved studying. I studied telecommunications engineer, and as I say, I won't be the best telecommunication engineer in the world, but probably I am able to fight anything that comes along, thanks to my studies. So,
yeah, I've heard that the level of complexity has to do a lot with the toughness of the professors and also like the methodology of study, right? It's like, hey, you're on your own, buddy. Like, find a way to get it done.
Yeah, just for you to understand, the first exam that I did there, it was algebra. I think it's in English.
Yeah.
Okay, like mathematics, and there were 900 people going to the exam. Guess how many people passed the exam? Give a number out of 900.
100.
Yeah, I was gonna say about like 50 or something.
11. And we were 900, 300 per, like, say, course or per year. Okay, so even with people that were doing the subject for like 3, 4, or the 5th time, only 11 passed. So when I saw that, and my score was 0.3 out of 10, that's like, you just get mad. But yeah, so it's difficult. But at the end, if you keep working, you'll get it done. You'll get the grade.
Fair enough.
Fair enough. That's a good message for our 3rd episode of the podcast.
I mean,
let's keep doing it.
In IBM, right? So I mean, it's worth the effort, I would say.
It is worth, and actually, I mean, it's let's say those studies are very good in IBM, because actually one of the typical people or role who we are looking for at IBM is people who are currently mixing business plus technology. And all those engineers, not only engineers, we also hire a lot of people from economics, from business administration, people who have those business skills and they want to develop more skills in technology. So we get people from technology who likes to know about business. So that's what I did. But we also hire people from business who want to know about technology. So we're open to everyone who loves technology and who has a good mind and puts a lot of effort to get things done. That's basically it.
Was that the way you joined IBM, through that curiosity, or what was your journey to from college to IBM?
Totally. My journey is like a bit complicated because before finishing university, I started working for an important client in Spain, an insurance company called Mafre. It's a big one, and actually also in LATAM in Spain. And then I joined also BNP Paribas, the bank, the French bank. You will see in Roland Garros, probably advertised everywhere. And after 2-3 years, I realized I shouldn't be working for an insurance company or a bank if I actually love technology and love how technology can change the world. So I said, okay, let's go join IBM. So then I joined IBM working as business consultant. So that's the first time that I've always worked with technology, but that time it was myself selling the technology to the clients, myself showing other companies how could we change their company through technology. Okay, so I worked there for 5 years in consulting, and then I joined IBM Technology. It's doing the same thing, but now only with IBM Technology. So in the past, I worked with any kind of technology from any of provider, or doing it by ourselves, by our team. And now I'm specialized in showing the people and the market and everyone, and we did with Banker Games also, how the IBM Technology can empower the client's business.
Awesome. So from safety and traditional stuff to change and transformation, which is great.
Well, it seems that you had your passion defined from day one almost, right? It's like, how can technology have an impact in businesses and the way businesses impact the world, right? Is that what you would define your passion as?
Yeah, totally. And I found out when I was in BNP Paribas, actually, when we were like having lunch with people, and these people were saying, I'm going to study CFA to know about capital markets. I'm going to study whatever. And I was just like, I just want to automate things. I just want to do artificial intelligence things to solve problems. I don't care actually what the problem is. I just want to find a problem, find a technology that can solve the problem, and just apply it. So that's where I actually found out, what the heck am I doing in a banking business or in an insurance business, when I actually don't want to be expert on selling insurance products. So yeah, that's actually, it's a journey when everybody finds out what's their passion. So I did love technology. That's why I studied telecommunications engineer. But it was actually working when I really thought I should go to the core place, to a technological company to grow there and to make my clients grow with me.
That's amazing.
Talking about passions and growing, something that is growing pretty rapidly is the gaming industry. Do you game at all?
Ooh.
Is it part of your passion? If so, which games?
I do game. Well, I gamed more when I was a child, but that doesn't mean I don't game today. So when I was little, when I was a child, I loved gaming all the time. All my free time was gaming. So gaming, I remember from the start, my best, the games that I most liked were Nintendo 64. Okay, so when I think of when I was young, that was like the first, like the love of my life, the Nintendo 64. Okay, so I loved playing with people, playing with friends, and all that stuff. From then to today, for example, with all my colleagues, I always say that in the pandemic and the COVID-19, that at least in Spain, we were like, we were on the lockdown for 3 months. I said to my friends, without gaming, because I played a lot of League of Legends with my friends, without gaming, I would have been totally lost. Because at least we use this gaming not only to have fun, but to do community between the people. Yeah, my parents were like, because I was in the house of my parents, because they got with a swimming pool and things, just to be out of the small apartment in the city where I actually live. And they were like, who are you talking all the time? And I'm with my friends. So it's just, I'm locked down. Then I found somewhere else to have fun. So that place was the Riot Arena of League of Legends. And I always say the same. That saved my pandemic. It sounds maybe silly, but without 10, 15 people from my friends playing all the day, all the night, doing like social stuff, I would have been lost.
Oh no, for us it was the same. I remember me and my buddies, we were stuck with not only like games like COD, for example, which was what we played the most, but we discovered this game. I don't know if you've ever heard of it. It's called Secret Hit. Have you ever heard of that game?
I haven't.
Oh my God, it's such a good game. There's like this app that you play online, and it's basically like liberals against fascists. Well, I mean, you can imagine it's so much fun. A group of friends that you know each other for your entire life, and you're lying. I was like, no, dude, I swear, I'm telling the truth. I'm not a fascist. Liberal, and he's a fascist. She's the one.
But listen, that is a game for you to lose friendships, dude, because you need to lie and deceive.
Oh, yeah,
and it's so super weird that you bonded over that rather than losing all your friends and creating enemies.
I don't know if we bonded, but we were definitely entertained for a while.
I'm always with FIFA mostly, dude, because I'm so deep into the community for so long, and I've built stuff with it, and I'm always in FIFA. But I've been enjoying Teamfight Tactics, which exists within. I spoke about that many times and about how balanced it is and how I feel like I'm learning every time. Now we want to talk about IBM Garage. I would say Garage. Is it Garage?
It's a Garage.
Am I being too British?
Depends where you're from, innit?
Depends where you're from, innit? Yeah, so IBM Garage. I'm gonna link it down below so you guys know what it's about and you can check it for yourselves. But I wanted you to tell us, what is it from your own words? How would you elevator pitch IBM Garage?
If I had to explain IBM Garage in less than 1 minute, I would say it's just a methodology to build things and to solve a business issue through technology and test it through an MVP. It's that easy, through a pilot. So let's say, why would we be onboarding? Let's think of one of the solutions we did in Banker Games. I'll put an example, okay? With you guys, we worked on an anti-cheat solution, and then we'll discuss more about that. But why would we go, if we want to build an anti-cheat solution, because we want to have a fair game, because we want to have people not frustrated because of the let's say of the people doing cheats. Okay, it doesn't make sense to plan a project and do a project in 1 year, start all over, go 1 year, present it, and then test it, and find out that it's so, let's say, it's so apart to what we thought it should be, or we thought it was going to be. So basically, the IBM Garage, what it does is we understand the problem. So let's say anti-cheating. So there are cheaters. Why are there cheaters? How are they cheating? So we understand all that process. And then how would you want to solve that? And then once we know the challenge, we know the solution, then we put the technology. IBM is expert on technology. So we say, okay, we got all of this portfolio of technological solutions, and these are going to help your business and your problem to solve it in this way, this way, this way. And it all needs to be built in less than 8 weeks. Okay, so that's the point of an MVP. Is we got the challenge, we built something that's small with a small scope, and we test it. And in 8 weeks, we already know if that's, let's say, a success or it's a failure. Even if it's a failure, let's say, even if that solution cannot find cheaters, let's say, or cannot solve the problem, even though for me it's a success, because I found out in 8 weeks that this approach was never going to work. Okay, so even if it's a totally failure, then I'll say, okay, I want to invest more money, I want to invest more time, because I found out that this is not the right approach. Okay, and spoiler here, the problem that the challenge in Banker Games with the anti-cheat solution was not a failure, it was a success. Okay, so it's not that, but we did find in 8 weeks that it made sense to continue working on that project, that it was feasible, that it delivered a lot of value to the users. And technologically, it was possible to do it with IBM technology. So that's basically what we do with the IBM Garage, is an investment of IBM in very selected clients. So we normally go to the big ones, like big fish. We go to the big banks. We go to big energy and utility companies. But sometimes we put our focus in small growing startups like Banker Games. Okay, because it is true that sometimes IBM is perceived as like this old company, or not so new, not so, and we're changing that, because actually everyone that joins IBM, or everyone that actually worked with IBM, and it happened with you guys with Banger Games when we did the final presentation. I remember Miguel. I remember the rest of the team saying, "Oh, guys, I didn't know IBM was so cool. I didn't know IBM had so many young people." Okay, so we have those people. We're like very innovative, but it's just maybe the market yet doesn't know. So that's one of the missions of IBM Garage, is showcasing our clients that we can go with a fast-growing startup and invest in you, because we really believe that Banger Games project is going to grow, it's going to keep growing. You've grown a lot since the last time we worked, but I think you're going to grow even more and in the future. And we want to be your partners here. And we want people who sees IBM and Banger Games think, oh, these guys are doing, these IBM guys are going with really cool startups like Banger Games. So these people are innovative. So basically, it's that.
So I love that you mentioned that, Luis, because for Banger, IBM is one of it's really the flagship partnership. It's you guys are one of our first really big partner, and you represent with everything that you represented in not only in the industry in the gaming, but in the tech space. You know, you're the veterans of the field, and we're super proud of that. But we also talk about partnerships as, you know, being this two-way relationship, and we love to hear the fact that, you know, Banger also brings innovation, youth, and an entry to a new space like web3 and web3 gaming is, you know. So I would love to hear a little bit how that partnership and that relationship started, because you talked about IBM Garage, but I would love to hear about, you know, internally what was the sensations of your team with Banger, the desire to work for, etc. You know, how did it all start?
Yeah, I'll tell you what I know from my side. So I had this colleague, which is Inigo Capistani, who's one colleague from IBM who really loves gaming and who was really convinced of the Banger Games project. Mm-hmm. So he told me that you guys, Banger Games, were collaborating with them through a startup, let's say, program, okay, where we invested using IBM Cloud, so our infrastructure, our cloud, to leave it to you with some credits so that you could use it, you could test it, you could start putting there your servers. Actually, it's those servers where we afterwards use for the anti-cheat solution. So that's an example of how you use those servers that IBM invested and put it just for you, just to use it for 6 months. Okay, it was from 6 months to 1 year. So after that, as you're a startup, so we understand that at the beginning of the project, you guys need help, or you need companies who actually believe in your project. And so let's say you need help, and we, from a big company like IBM, we need to invest in those places where we think in the future are going to be the leaders of some place in the market. So gaming is one very, very growing one, and we think Banger Games is going to be a leader there. So if we help Banger, if we start being partners of Banger in the future, when they're a big company, that I'm sure that will happen at some point, then there's going to be a trust relation, as you were saying, and we're going to grow together. So it's a very good investment from IBM side. So we started with a startup program. Okay, after that ended, we started working with the IBM Garage. We also we are organizing different projects related to blockchain technology in our blockchain platform to see how can we complement the work that you're doing today. But and let's say a funny thing about the start of the collaboration of IBM and Banger was basically when Inigo came and told me, okay, I'm working with these people from gaming. They're like they're very, very exciting people. So do you guys want to do a garage with them? And I say, totally. And all my team who were working with me were so excited. Once we finished the MVPs we did with you, which we can talk afterwards about them, our leaders from EMEA and from worldwide, they just told me, even if it's small startup, guys, please keep doing these things. Like this thing that you've done with Banger Games, keep doing it, because this is real innovation. This is real focusing in something that's growing, like the gaming business, and all the Web3, all the metaverse. I read the other day, metaverse is not working so good as it should be. Or I read it in an article, but they said what it is really working is in the gaming industry. I mean, in the gaming industry, there's so many people playing every day. There's so many people meeting. There's so many people having fun. Okay, so it's already working, it's already there, and we need to tackle it down right now. So we think it's a business that is going to grow a lot. Not only us, probably Microsoft, with the latest acquisition of Activision, they always think the same, and other of partners that you may have now or may have in the future, or our competitors, they always, all the market thinks the same. Okay, so it's things that IBM maybe did not so much do in the past, investing in this type of startups, but it's something we're changing, and our collaboration is a great example of the new power and all that your company brings to us and otherwise.
For sure. I mean, I find it fascinating when you talk about the methodology behind like IBM Garage. For example, one of the things that I find really interesting is the whole 8-week period, where it's like, or this approach is working, or we need to take a complete different route, right? Because it's like, you know, very quick. It's a very short amount of space to determine whether, you know, you need to take a different path. So could you talk to us a little bit about how the origin of working with Banger Game, like what was the process of defining the features that we've implemented together? Because I know that there was a couple, like the anti-cheat, that we're gonna now get into depth, that we required that from you guys. Like, we need this. This is a problem in the market. We need it. But some other solutions and features you brought to the table as part of that methodology and that garage process, that startup program, right?
Yeah, totally. I'll explain it now in a very short way. So the methodology is very, very simple, and it makes sense. It's very like common sense. So we started like understanding the assets, what's the actual status of Banger Games, which problems do you have, where do you want to get in the future. So we understand, we list down all your pain points and all the opportunities you wanna work on in the future. So that's like first phase. Then we understand how are you maturing technology in terms of technology. So which are you working, which is your infrastructure, which servers are you working, databases, which providers, everything about your technology, the technology you have now, and where do you want to go in the future. So now, after that, we've got a clear view of the status of the business and the technology of Banger Games. Then we need to build the future. So we need to build the to-be solution. We need to understand and to say, okay, we want to build an anti-cheat solution or improve our anti-cheat solution. Other things we did, we want to build a smart tournament matching solution, which I can explain in a bit. We can do a notification system. So it's a couple of things that we together thought that it made sense to tackle. And then we need to do a scoping, because we got 8 weeks. Let's say we've already spent 3 weeks in this process. We only have 5 weeks left, only 5 weeks of development to see if it's okay or not okay. So we need to scope it and find a smaller way of testing if this is going to be feasible. And we spend then, after that, 5 weeks developing, and we just test the outcome and tell you, okay, this is feasible, it isn't. We show it, we show how far we've gone, we show if it makes sense. And after that, and which we did with you guys, and I think it was a very, very good outcome, because it's not, and this is an important point, and I always say it, it's not something IBM interviewed Banger Games, left for 5 weeks and came back with a product. It's not that. It's IBM and Banger Games meeting every week, showing all the process, changing things. So it was a collaboration, co-creation, and co-development of the solution, so that at the end, when we presented the result, you guys were not actually, you were thrilled, but you were not surprised, because you knew what was you knew what was happening. You knew what we were building. So it's something I always say, it's not IBM doing it, it's IBM and Banger. It's just you are the owners of that, but it was all together. Okay, so listing out things we did together. So apart from this anti-cheat solution, which of course you had so much interest in that because it's a core in your strategy. So making a platform that doesn't have any cheater, because if not, gaming is not fun. Let's say that. We built a smart tournament solution, which basically, because there was another problem you had. You said it was first frustrating to go into a tournament where people were had much more level than you have, and you were always losing. So that was a frustration for many gamers. So what we did is understand all the data from the gamers, from the Banger Games platform, but also from outside. Let's say, for example, Counter-Strike. There's a lot of public information out there in Steam. in many. So we know what kind of player you are. We know how many games you've played. What's your results? So we got lots of data in the internet from you. You unite that with all the information we have in Banger Games from all the games you played in Banger Games platform. Then we know your profile, and we can find and match it to people that are your same level, that play similar as you do. Okay, so that's another. So that was the smart tournament matching. Let's say we used artificial intelligence to do that. We also had a smart notification system also. This basically enabled people to talk in the Banger Games platform, to talk between them, to make groups, to do all those, or maybe if there was a very important content that the administrator of the platform wanted to know, tell all the users, okay, we have released this new functionality in the platform, or we're gonna generate this new tournament. So these could be sent to all the users. So that's another functionality we did, so that everybody in Banger Games, all the users, were notified and informed of every important thing that was going to happen in Banger Games ecosystem. So that was the objective. And those were basically the most important ones. And I'm forgetting I think the king of Banger, which is Boomer, so the assistant.
The AI assistant.
AI assistant. So that was so fun, because the AI assistant in Banger Games is like everything. It's like a brain. It's like we put the similarity when we're working with you guys of this one in Iron Man. I forgot the name. You know, the AI assistant in Iron Man in the film.
It's Jarvis.
Jarvis. I forgot the name. Jarvis. So we wanted to build a Jarvis, Banger Games Jarvis, that knew everything. So you wanted to play a tournament, then you ask Boomer. You wanted to, I don't know, to join the platform, you ask Boomer. You wanted to know what keyboard do I have to buy or what mouse do I have to buy for gaming, you ask Boomer. Anything. So it would need to be the brain, everything. Someone that you could rely on for any problem you had. For example, I had an issue with my tournament. How can I report it? With Boomer. So it was like the brain and the only channel where you could, let's say, have a very personalized and customized experience through Boomer. So that was also very fun to build with you guys.
I've worked with gamified systems for quite a while, and I know the importance of notifications, not only on the system side, not only like telling players, but like in a customizable manner. Like if I'm going for a certain objective, I know how much of the objective I have accomplished. If I took an action that helped in that sense, like I completed 4 of 6 something, and then I need to know that before I leave the game, so I know if I need to stay for 2 more, if I want to stay for 2 more, or I might have thought that I completed it, then I go back and I see, oh, there's 1 more left, then I have to go back to a certain area and do that over again. So having that, both of those systems interacting with each other in a way that you can have those notifications be customized by players, so you know what you're going through and you know what you need to accomplish, and if you finally have enough to redeem for some item, for some mouse that you want or something that you want. So the experience can get more immersive, and you can feel like it's more of a personal assistant rather than like a system-wide faceless thing.
Yeah, totally. And there's the challenges in exactly what you were explaining, Nuno. It's how do you put notifications, but the right ones, not all of them, because then the user is overloaded. So there's a part of customer experience there that you need to tell them in the right time, in the right moment, the right information. Otherwise, it makes no sense. So you were saying before closing the game or before leaving, give them that information that it's important for them. Maybe it's not the same notification when you join the platform, when you log in, than when you're going to leave after you play a game. So
yeah, it's the balance between accessibility and endorphin, right? So you need to balance that really well, so it looks useful, feels useful and relevant, and not invasive.
That's it.
Yeah, because I mean, there's like everyone's used to the chat bots, and you know, in general, I think it's reached a point where like people don't mind the bot so much as the lack of value that it can provide in key moments of time, right? It's not like I don't care whether it's a bot or there's someone. I mean, back in the day, there used to be someone, and in fact, a lot of businesses are bringing back real people to the chats to kind of establish that trust with their customers. But I don't think that the problem is that the question is, does it solve the needs that people have, right? And I think that's exactly what you guys are talking about.
Some help desks you cannot tell anymore when it stops being a computer and starts being a person.
That's it.
It's that good now.
That's a job well done.
That's totally right. Actually, if you have a very good virtual assistant, it's much useful. It's more useful than a human, actually, because they have access to much more information. You just need to train it so that it can be more or less of a human in the interaction with the user, with the gamer. That's the difficult part, because having access to information, it's more or less easy. So you only need to train the assistant how to find that information, and then how to interact with the user to provide that information, provide that conversation. And I also wanted to mention, before you ask me, so new projects that we've thought of working with Banger Games, okay, that we discussed in the past, and we are also thinking at some point. So there was one that I think it's really, really useful, and actually you asked for it. So at some point, I think we will tackle that one now, is automated highlights of games, which is something, me as a gamer, I would love it. Which is, I play my League of Legends game, it ends, and it just automatically, using AI, provides the most interesting moments of the game. Let's say in 2-3 minutes, like the highlights of the best kill, the moment that it was a very cool team fight, whatever, or maybe in FIFA, at the moment when there was like this game or this part of the game that was really crucial for the game, and then you have it all. And it's then automatically using AI. Okay, and actually the user doesn't have to do anything, just to wait and say, here is your recording, here are your highlights of the game. That would be, for me as a gamer, it's amazing. I don't know
next week. Next week we're gonna start doing some community stuff and featuring some gameplay clips of you guys. Some people in Discord are already sharing it, so this is a step towards that as well. I think user-generated content. It's really cold to say user-generated content as if like like community is a content machine, and it's not the case. But like featuring what are the extraordinary stuff people pull off is like I think it's super important. And it's good to know that we're gonna have a way, because not many people know how to, like, it's a weird tool for people still. Like, people don't want to dabble too much into video editing sometimes, or so a lot of people don't know how to save those clips either, or don't have like the technical even the hardware to do so, or software. I mean, so it's super cool that it does that automatically, so people can actually, from a social standpoint, can start participating more and showing their skills, and even comparing their skills beyond competition, right? And just showing the stuff or silly stuff they do as well. Like fails fail video clips are awesome. It's the ones that I like the most. So I'm super happy that I hope AI takes care of that as well. Just the fails, the fail AI.
Just from your compilation work as well, right?
Yeah,
makes it easier on us. So I have a question this is for both of you. Where do you guys think all these features, and not only the features that we've created, but as Luis just mentioned, the ability to keep on innovating thanks to this partnership, where do you think that leaves Banger within the gaming industry? Nuno, I ask you as a advocate gamer, and Luis obviously as well, as you with your technological scope of the industry. Where do you think that this both partnership and the features created leave Banger right now?
From my point of view, I think you guys are doing exactly what you should be doing. So you're let's say you're touching the sweet spot of the industry, because basically you're tackling down, and it's very important, and that's one of the reasons you worked with us with the IBM Garage, is find the problem of the gamers and solve them. So that's one of the main and most important things that you guys are doing. Is I think people are frustrated because of the cheating. I find a solution for that. I think people want to get matched with people their level. I find a solution for that. And all of the problem the gamers have today, and that's one of the best things you guys are doing. And all the play to earn idea, it's not only you guys doing it, but you guys are performing it very, very well. I think you know more than I do about that, but it's the future. I mean, the concept as a gamer and as a technology provider, as a technology person, advisor, let's say it, the concept of play to earn or start earning money for the time you spend playing is awesome. Is so many people playing every day, and I've played so many hours of League of Legends. What's my reward for that? Probably nearly nothing. So, or other things like using NFTs. Let's play a tournament. Let's partner with a brand, a shirt brand, or let's say whatever, and let them organize the tournament. And if they win, let's give some NFTs totally personalized for the people who played the tournament. So there's so big opportunity on that. And I think you guys are doing very well on this stuff. And I think the market knows. And I am in your Telegram accounts and groups and everything. And I see what people, because when I started working with you, I wanted to be in that Telegram to understand what the gamers were saying about you, what they wanted, what they didn't want. And I'm reading very, very cool stuff about you guys. So I think you're doing it very, very well.
Nice plugging, by the way. So you can check the links down below. You have the link to the Telegram. Do join the Telegram and Discord. You have the links down below. Thanks for the plug. From my perspective, I think being in a FIFA community, FIFA is a license-based game. So every year you buy the game, which is like the game's not free. So you buy it, and there's a lot of in-game purchases. And the market has gone towards in-game purchases, both for free-to-play games, but also to regular expensive games as well, for all platforms. Like it started on mobile, and then it went to like next-gen consoles and PC and everything. But as I've said here before, you're only renting those assets. You're only you have the license to execute them. You don't, right? You have the license to use them. And when a new edition of the game comes, you lose everything. You have to start from scratch. FIFA is the king of that. Like every year you have to start that Ultimate Team again. And it's terrible, really, because from a completionist point of view, like you spend a lot of time getting 100% on the games you like. You spend a lot of time putting together the stuff you want on games as a service type situation games, and then none of that is yours. So it's weird to me. If you think about it for a second, it's super weird that all the time that you invested in it and your energy and even your performance, maybe it doesn't belong to you. So I think the cool thing about Banger is that it's already, to me at least, it's already in the second phase, because NFTs were like these drawings and JPEGs and stuff, and Banger is the first project that I see in gaming that says no, NFTs are just something like an asset that is contractually yours and has a function to enhance your experience, rather than being, so this is something that I'm telling you it's worth something. No. It's something that is useful to you, and it's a reflection of stuff that you've earned and blah blah blah. And also to reward people for the time they spend gaming, as you said. And I think that's super, super, super cool, especially throughout different games. Like you don't have to be inhabiting a particular developer's ecosystem. Like you don't it's not within your Ubisoft account that is not connected to your EA account, that is not connected to your Blizzard account or your Riot account or whatever. And you have all these different things where you get different rewards and none of them talk to each other. In Banger, that ties everything around your own identity and your performance and the things you like and the people you love doing stuff with, and creations that you do, as you say, with the clips and everything. So I think it's an amazing way, and I hope the market sees that. It's the ultimate way of being a gamer. Like really being a gamer and having your time being worth the effort you put into it.
Totally. I totally agree with you, Nuno. And I vision Banger Games, or I would love Banger Games to become that place where all the gamers just go there to game, to play. Doesn't matter what. Doesn't matter if they want to know about something, some news about gaming. Doesn't if they want to play something, if they want to. So it's like that place where you want to meet people, where you want to do things related to gaming, but any kind of stuff, not only playing, seeing tutorials, seeing whatever.
Yeah, no, the social aspect to it. Like if you're talking about these different accounts that you have, like your Blizzard account player list, friends list is different than your Ubisoft friends list, and different than your PlayStation list is different than your PC list. And now Discord is kind of trying to, but the communication is not centralized in a way that you can play things with the people you want to play. Like you have to play with those who are friends within that space, fragmented. So bringing that all together and having that experience where, I don't know, you're in the bus going back home and you know the stuff you need to do to get the rewards you want, and it's not zero sum either. That is something that I really like. Because today, like, you have to get rewarded on a game, you need to beat someone else. Like someone has to lose and someone has to win, and that is that's not all gaming is. Like there's a lot of it in gaming, but that's not all it is. So I enjoy the fact that I can just play a game where in which I'm a cat and do cat stuff and get rewarded for like the way I'm a cat in that game. So I that is awesome. And compared to stuff other people did that I didn't know I could do as a cat, I don't know. And that is pretty awesome as well.
I love it that you guys both hit on what for me is like the core of what's being done here. And it's to kind of just be gamers and create a business from a gamer's perspective for gamers, right? So like you've been addressing different problems that the industry has, and the way that we're trying to solve it is from a gamer's perspective, right? So for example, I want to have all my friends in a same community. That's just a way of saying that the publishers in the industry are fragmented, right? They can't come together in one single place, right? And the other part, Luis, that you were saying and mentioning before as well was just, how do I get something back for my game time? It's not like gamers are asking that much. And that was one of the core principles from which Banger was born at the end of the day. So I love how you both are addressing like core fundamentals of how Banger was born. So yeah, I mean, beautiful. I was really interested as well in knowing a little bit what else IBM has done with other startups, because because you say it yourself, right? You said before, we normally work with the big fish, right? We work with the big banks and the big firms and energy companies, but we also like to collaborate with small startups such as Banger, because of their potential, because of their innovative style, because of the industry that we belong in. So I'm also interested to know what other startups in like our profile have you been kind of collaborating with?
Okay, so worldwide, I mean, we collaborate, as you said. We normally go for big fish, but sometimes we need to change the focus, look somewhere else, and especially in innovative topics. So let's say gaming. I cannot find a big company in which I can work at the pace we work with Banger.
Right.
It's very difficult. So we need to go to those startups. And many times, one of our ways of working is we go to a big client. Our big client wants to do something very innovative. Okay, and even in IBM, we don't have those skills. So normally we come all together, the big company, IBM, plus the startup. Let's say, for example, I've seen different startups. One was, for example, to let's say put in the market insurance for mobile phones, okay, or for smartwatches, or for anything new, any new gadget that would wearable that will come to the market. So it's something that big insurance companies, they don't have so much knowledge, but there is a startup there that can do this. So we join all together, the big insurance, IBM, and the startup, and we build all together a solution. Okay, so that this big company is actually the client of this startup. It's just putting it together two business, the old way of doing business, the new way of doing business, and IBM is in the middle to try to help from the technology side, seeing being the IBM, the technology partner or advisor in this. Okay, so we've done this in many sectors. We've done this, for example, in soccer, in football, here in Europe. So when we talk about technology and highlights and things very related to sports, okay, so it's places where big companies really don't have so much knowledge. So if they want to invest or they want to grow in a new line of business related to sports, we need to find that startup that knows about that and can help the big company, and big company is actually their client, to build it. Okay, so that's one of the main things we do. The other thing is we're directly going to a Banger Games type of startup that you guys, I think you don't have competitors, big competitors. I think it's your I don't know, your proposal, your value proposal is so much different than, I don't think a big company is just gonna offer that tomorrow. And we invest in you. It can be gaming, it can be so many other things. It can be a marketplace of marketplace of licenses for software, for any type of software, for virtual reality, for VR, for automation, for many of the new technologies, for IoT, things that it's very innovative technologies. So these people want to make a marketplace, and they want to join IBM to help them build this together. And so there are many different ways of engaging with startups. Okay, sometimes with big partners involved, sometimes just with the startup. And actually the aim here of IBM is, as I said at the beginning, is help you grow so that in the future we will grow together. I think that would be the main objective.
I think that's a good segue for us to ask, what do you see as the future between IBM and Banger? Like, what technology do you see IBM and Banger developing together in the future? In your dreams. You don't need to promise anything to anyone.
So there are so many possibilities in the blockchain space, okay, but I think you guys have that very, very well covered, and we keep working with you, but it's something we'll keep growing. But what I'm really, really interested, or I'm really amazed in when we talk about artificial intelligence. And I'll explain you why. The thing of artificial intelligence is you need lots of data. And you guys in your platform, when they play in your platform, so you have so much data of the users. If I want to, let's put an example. If I want to apply artificial intelligence over a soccer game, so Real Madrid game, let's say Real Madrid versus Barcelona, I need to capture the image, I need to take data of that and do all this stuff. From gaming, we already have all that data, because at the end, all the games are data behind, interacting all over. So the data is there, it's already prepared. I just need to use it. And if I infuse a lot of data into an artificial intelligence model, then I can do so many cool stuff. I mean, let's do an example. I can tell a profile like me saying, okay, Luis, I've seen you play League of Legends. You should be playing this player, you should be playing this style. I can analyze the way you're playing, and I can help you.
That's amazing.
Much better than a human, because I mean, you can be a coach, a gaming coach. You won't never be able to use so much data as that the system has. It's impossible. So if we train the model, the artificial intelligence model, to understand the data and to give you advices, that's something that a human will never be able to do. You need a human to train the model. But once the model is already growing, it's much better than a human. So that's, for example, a space that I think in the future bankers will be able to explode in very different kind of ways. And how should you play? Who should you play with? So many other things. Even it could tell you should be joining this community because all these people are very they play very similar as you do. They don't rage in the chat, for example. They don't. So it's so many different things you could do with that.
I love this answer, dude, because I am one of the apps I am most excited about that I've started using recently is Grammarly. And I don't even have the premium account. I have like the free stuff, right? Mm-hmm. But Alvaro does have the premium stuff, which the premium stuff starts suggesting you like you should the voicing in this, the tone in this kind of paragraph, it's like you're not being friendly enough. Do you want to be friendly? Do you want to be professional? What do you want to do? And from time to time, I get an email telling me, so this week you've been like more precise with your words than 95% of users, and you've used your vocabulary is better than this and this amount, this percentage of users, and your tones were mostly friendly, professional, optimistic. And that is awesome because I can start diagnosing throughout different, on Banger, for instance, which is possible to do right now. Start diagnosing throughout, not only to recommend stuff, but also to reinforce different types of behaviors. For instance, if I'm playing Overwatch and I'm really toxic on Overwatch and I get banned from Overwatch, I'm gonna go be toxic on CS and vice versa, and on Valorant and blah blah blah. So we can start building different types of behavioral incentives for people to not be toxic throughout shooting games in general, which would be valuable to all parts involved, including the developers, because they cannot control how toxic. Because even if one developer controls, the other one controls it different, and then it opens space for people to continue. Like it keeps fomenting the stuff, and you never have a solution, or you cannot bring value to the behavior of acting correctly and being friendly to people, and then you can start doing that as well. And so that is something, and also recommending stuff and also analyzing stuff. You said, oh, a coach couldn't do that, but AI could be analyzed not only as a coach, but as a psychologist as well. Because now you can see that this player is also, it's always being anxious in this particular part, and the mistakes are coming from this particular part. And maybe you can start diagnosing even color perception deficiencies, which a lot of people have and don't realize. So maybe you're not seeing green well in this part, so you have a deficiency. Your green, the way you see green is less saturated than most people, so you don't differentiate depth so much when it's green and blah blah blah. So there's so much you can do with that it excites me a lot, because when you say you get a lot, you have a lot of data. I'm sorry, come again?
He's opened Pandora's box here.
yeah, that's exactly where I was going. When you say you have a lot of data on users, that sounds scary as hell, dude. And it's fundamental for people to know that big data doesn't matter that much if you don't have deep data. If you can cross those data in multiple ways and overlap them and find meaning within those comparisons and overlaps. So that's where the intelligence is really valuable, and where we can change people's lives and bring them value, really, and make it work for them.
That's it. And actually, one important concept here is once it's working, you got it working correctly, you're democratizing the access to that. So everybody has a coach in the platform, so that you don't need to pay someone who's going to help you. It is there, or maybe you need to pay. It depends on the business model that the platform has, but it's something that you are going to afford. It will be affordable. Let's say right now, if I need a coach it could be a professional coach, it could be a coach for gaming, it could be a psychologist. I need to pay normally a lot of money for that. If I'm able that artificial intelligence model to help me in small things and make it democratized for all the users, then that's something very powerful.
Like, I'm just thinking, like, because Nuno, you went so far, which I absolutely love.
I'm sorry. I always kind of go, I'm sorry.
No. I love it because you gave me a perspective that I didn't even think of. I was thinking, for example, of like analyzing your method of playing and suggesting weapons for first-person shooters, suggesting a certain team because of your style of play, or a certain player in, Ultimate FIFA. Because of how you play, and what are your habits, what are your mechanisms. But you could take that very well, as you said, Nuno, like in between games, right? It's the amount of stuff that you could do. And at the end of the day, if you're talking about offering monetization opportunities, it doesn't matter if you're an amateur, if you're a professional, you're gonna want to play better, even if it's just for the fun. Money, regardless of the money, you're gonna want to know, so if I play with Chelsea. I'm going to be better because of these set of players and because how I play and how chicken I am, and I stay in defense waiting for everyone to come. For just to give a stupid example, I find it fascinating that
it is not stupid. I think FIFA is the king of that. Like, you never fully understand the systems you're subject to, which opens up space for you to develop superstitious behavior, right? So that particular boot, you think that it shoots like when you shoot with that particular boot is better, or like players who have a particular body type are just better, or some, I don't know. So you start getting superstitious when you don't, you go through confirmation bias without realizing, and then you start developing superstitious behavior, and it becomes. It feeds on community. When community starts having that particular behavior, and it feeds and has confirmation bias, collective confirmation bias, and then it becomes true. So it's super weird. So if you have that way to analyze that and figure out, oh, maybe I have a particular way that my tendons don't turn left really well with my mouse, and I need to work with that. So it's physiotherapeutical. Right? It's a mechanical matter, and maybe there's a mouse that helps you with that, and maybe you can recommend that as well. As simple as that. Maybe it can change your life. And it's a cheaper mouse than the one you have. It's not just like greed. Oh, so buy this mouse. No, maybe it's something that will legitimately help you with, or just measure like you're having this consistent X amount of delay in your input, and it's not your connection, but maybe it's your monitor. Maybe your monitor sucks, and you have like a cheaper alternative that will have like a faster response or something.
And
so that type of thing is awesome.
I think you hit on, for me, one of the most important things that potentially could come out of the partnership, and if this gets built, which is democratizing the data to everyone through the platform, right? Because, for example, I remember in my poker days, there used to be these different apps and software programs that you could install, and that would build on top of the poker platform that would give you data on the hands that other people would play, right? So you that was only the data, and you had to understand it. There wasn't and I don't think there still is the AI component, but it was secretive. You had to pay for it. You had to find your own way to it, and it was almost cheating in a way, because you had access to data that not other people had, right? So it would be so different if everyone automatically would get sent, hey, this is how you play. This is how, and more focused on yourself, on how to improve, and not so much on how to beat others, right? It's like, hey, we're changing the mind frame here, which I absolutely love, and I think is a huge part that IBM brings to the table.
Knowledge and computing power is the reason some people are kept out of casinos, dude. Are banned from casinos. Like, they can't get in, and as soon as they do, someone will just get them out. Sorry, bud, you're too good at math. Just leave.
For sure.
What does the future of gaming look like, Luis?
There you go.
That's a good question. I cannot answer that one. And you know why? Because the last 5 years, what I think now, doesn't have to look nothing like what I felt 5 years ago. So it's evolving so fast that I can guess things. I could say what everybody says. I would love to play FIFA with my glasses, my virtual reality, and that's what I thought some years ago. Today, I have not seen that happen, at least not from a very. It's not so well done yet. But other things have come, like the idea of bank games. I never thought of this 5 years ago, but now I think of it this today. So what will happen in 5 years from now? I'm not sure. And I probably cannot imagine it yet, because it's going to be so, let's say, so different to what I'm thinking. I can't imagine. That's my answer. But you guys maybe have a better one.
My answer is I love living in a world in which I'm too old to imagine stuff in the future. I have a friend who says, if you're over 25, the future does not belong to you, buddy. So I'm over 25, and I don't know anymore, and I'm open to whatever comes, and I just cross my fingers and doing whatever we can through this project and many other things to make sure it's player centric. and it's all about gaming as a passion and doing stuff together that is positively transforming and builds on things that are good and not destructive. Just builds.
Well, just thanks to that conversation that we just had before, which blew my mind, I can see a future of gaming where the abilities that you train through gaming themselves can be then portrayed and like cased in a way that they can have a real life impact. Like it's like, holy shit, this guy has this speed and this way of identifying whatever, like regardless of the game that you're playing. And here comes this artificial intelligence that says you would be so good at, I don't know, engineering, at extreme sports, at, whatever it is. And all of a sudden, because of gaming, you get a door open to you to, take that and have a real impact in the world. I think that just stems off of what we were talking about before. And I think it's beautiful. And it takes gaming even further beyond than, everything that it is right now.
Yeah, for example, taking on what you just said, I studied engineering or other subjects at school. I would love to use games to learn. Very important. So, for example, building, I don't know what I'm telecommunications. I need to build different machines, different things. I would love to do that instead of a paper with a pen and start calculating things. Do it on a game. Same thing, but seeing things or history. Learn history by playing. So there were battles, there were negotiations, see all that in a game. That's so much. You're going to remember, you're going to understand it better than just reading.
Absolutely. Game theory.
I have a couple of use cases to that, like a couple of cases that are awesome. One of them is a kid that drove his grandmother to the hospital because he drove Mario Kart so much. He learned to drive a Mario Kart, basically. There's, in history-wise, Ubisoft was so good at doing like Assassin's Creed games that there's some of the games, especially the Egyptian one, it has a story, like a story mode in terms of history mode.
Yeah.
That you can get in and just tour it without enemies or anything and get historical explanation of stuff.
Oh, wow.
Their creation of Venice was so good back in PlayStation 3, I guess. I have a friend who went on honeymoon to Venice and knew how to get around already. And also, when Notre Dame burned a little bit, they used Ubisoft's scans of Notre Dame to rebuild it because they had such precise scans and was so meticulous work that they had information about how things were built and put together that they, like, these historians didn't. So that is pretty awesome. And I hope people can get counseled on stuff they're good at, right? So isn't Hamilton like the driver, the Formula One guy? Didn't he start on simulators?
I think he did.
He had like a big development. Like he started on karts and everything, but then he went on to simulators and stuff. So he ran really well at the start, and people were so prejudiced because he hadn't had a career. Like he was a simulator guy, a guy who had a lot of hours in the simulator. So I hope that we can get to that point where people are exceeding in stuff in games, not necessarily competing, but having these capacities. I think that idea is great, Alvaro. I think you should patent that. Just patent it. A system for people to learn what they're good at through playing games and get recommended stuff to do in real life.
Totally. That's a good one.
I'm just glad it came in this session with this company.
I appreciate it too, dude. I'm so happy to have had you here, Luis, to have your time here.
Yeah, absolute pleasure,
I hope
man.
people also enjoyed it. If I have a startup in the tech Web3 space, how do I call IBM attention? How can I earn its help? What points of innovation are you looking for? And who do I call? Should I go to the website and just do my stuff? How do you recommend people do it?
You can go to the website. My suggestion is just find people, for example, on LinkedIn or any other social network or professional network. Just contact them and say, I am whoever you are. I'm interested in this type of things. How can IBM help me? How can I join IBM? How can whatever, and everyone in this company is going to be, they're going to try to help you. Even if it's you want to join IBM, even if it's you want help from IBM, but you don't want to join us, whatever thing, just contact, because the people here, I mean, we are here to help people grow in the technology business. So just contact us. You can also do it through the IBM official way, or just find people who you think, oh, I've seen your profile and I think I like what you're posting. So just get in conversation with that person and just talk with them.
Thank you so much for talking with us, Dan.
Thank you
so much. We appreciate it. We're gonna leave your social handles on. Can we post this? Can we like tag you on posts and stuff like that?
Yeah, perfect.
So people can follow you and you be the guy that people get in contact with if they have good ideas.
And if I cannot answer the question, I will forward to someone who can help you. So that's great.
Awesome.
Okay.
So thank you, Alvaro. Thank you, Luis, for being here.
You guys.
You were awesome. I appreciate you all. Thank you, Luis, for being here. Thank you all for watching. If you're here still, you're such a trooper. Thank you. Do follow us on social media and all other channels. Join our Discord server to get news as soon as possible. And stay tuned. There's a lot more to come. I'm Nuno Bianchi. Thank you all for being here today. I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.